the live Facebook and YouTube channels that you can watch the live Tarawih within your homes for those who cannot make it to the masjid for unforeseen circumstances. Ameen, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Also, we wish to thank each and everyone for contributing to this live Jumu'ah broadcast and to all programs of the Voice of the Cape. And if you request or need any of the recordings of any programs, you may do so by contacting the reception on 021 442 during office hours. Speak to Najma and she'll try and arrange the recordings for you. Ameen, Ya Rabbal Alameen. We wish to thank those who have contributed to this Jummah and all programs for the Voice of the Cape. May Allah bless you and guide you and protect you and grant you the opportunity to continue to give willingly for the sake of Allah. And may your contribution be of benefit to you, your family, your business, and to all others around you. Ameen, Ya Rabbal Alameen. It is 8 days, subhanallah. If you do not, if you haven't and you cannot realize how time just overtook us in the past, then this is the time to really sit down and think, where did 8 days go? So let's try to do the most. Let's try to do our best. Let's try to give as much time to the Quran and to programs happening and to lectures, and try to attend these lectures and even these mass bookers, because it is not only the Muslims that benefit. Each and every person comes to sit and they attend, and you don't know the impact that programs will have, subhanallah. Just to reiterate, one of the programs that is happening, it is a ladies only program, and it is for the Daruna that is happening. I'll get to the information with that, but it is a ladies only program, and of course there is a fee involved. It's happening at the Vigilance Hall, inshallah. And if you want more information on that, you can contact the Daruna offices. It is Iftar in aid of Syria, Friday the 7th of April, which is next week Friday, 16th day of Ramadan 1444. And it starts at 5:15, Vigilance Hall, 33 Bigger Road in Wynberg. Females only event, 021 7615331, or WhatsApp them on 078 1210550. And this is for the Daruna Academy. You can obviously contribute to this and be part of this program.
الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. اللهم علمنا ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما نافعا يا أرحم الراحمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. All praises and gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is due. Salutations and peace and blessings upon our Master Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the seal of all prophets and the best of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's creation, the intercessor on the day of judgment, whose intercession will be accepted and granted. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us to be from amongst the most righteous of His followers. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us to be from those who will follow in His footsteps and will live His life and His methodology. And may we spread His sunnah throughout the four corners of the world, Ya Arhamar Rahimeen. Oh Allah, make a means for His sunnah to spread through the four corners of the world, Ya Arhamar Rahimeen. Jama'at Muslimin, Alhamdulillah, we are fortunate that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala granted us once more an opportunity to witness a Friday, a Yawm al-Jumu'ah, but not any Friday. It is a Friday within the blessed month of Ramadan. And Yawm al-Jumu'ah, a Friday, in itself holds great sanctity and holds great virtue. And when it is within the month of Ramadan, then it is even more virtuous. When it is in the sacred month of Ramadan, it is even more sacred. It adds to the sanctity of this beautiful day. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant that every single reward and every single blessing and every single favor that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allows to descend unto humanity at large on this blessed day, that we receive a copious and a fair share of the of Ya Arhamar Rahimeen, Ya Arhamar Rahimeen. Jama'at al-Muslimin, respected listeners and viewers, this month already 1/4 of it had passed us by. And what is left is 3/4 of the month. And whatever had passed us by will never ever come back again. And it will be one of two things. Either that days of fasting will either be days that will intercede for you on the day of Qiyamah, and will be a siyam, yu'ta bis-siyam wal-Qur'an yushafa'an li sahibihima yawm al-Qiyamah, that Allah will let the fasting and the Qur'an to be an intercessor, to intercede for its companion on the day of Qiyamah. So it will either be an intercessor for you on the day of Qiyamah, or it will be a witness against us on the day of Qiyamah. It will testify to Allah and it will say, oh Allah, I'll be a witness that this person, he witnessed me. He witnessed me. And he was present with his heart. And he fasted with his limbs and not only his stomach. And he fasted with his heart. Oh Allah, I'll be a witness that he refrained and he abstained from many forms of transgression. And he was eager to attain your pleasure and your satisfaction. Oh Allah, I testify that he had indeed attempted to fulfill his obligation of fasting to the best of his capability. Oh Allah, allow me to intercede for him. Or the person who stands on the day of Qiyamah and he will say, Ya Rab, Ya Rab, I fasted, I stayed away from eating and drinking. And the fast will say, oh Allah, allow me to speak. And the fast will say, Ya Rab, he stayed away from eating and drinking, but his limbs were engaged in sin and disobedience. His tongue was not free of slander and backbiting. His eyes were not free of committing zina by looking at haram and looking at people in a condescending and a degrading and humiliating way. His ears were not free at listening to vain talks and listening to haram music. His ears were not free of listening to that which cause you disobedience. Oh Allah, his limbs, he engaged in working, but the sustenance was acquired from haram. Ya Rab, he walked, but whilst walking, he never walked to places that pleased you, but he walked to places that displeases you. He had the opportunity to go to the masjid, but instead he drifted away and attended places where you are displeased with, Ya Rab. Oh Allah, I am testimony to each and everything he did within me. كيف يكون حسرة ذلك الشخص يوم القيامة? What will his regret be like on the day of Qiyamah? What will his remorse be like on the day of Qiyamah? What will his sadness be like on the day of Qiyamah? One of the days, or one of the names of the day of Qiyamah is Yawmul Hasr, the day of ultimate regret and remorse. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is وَأَنذِرْهُمْ يَوْمَ الْحَسْرَةِ إِذْ قُضِيَ الْأَمْرُ وَهُمْ فِي غَفْلَةٍ وَهُمْ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ. Warn them. Warn your ummah about a day of ultimate regret and remorse, of which all matters will be settled. And there will be no one to object to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's judgment and Allah ta'ala's decree on the day. There will be no Supreme Court of Appeal. There will be no higher authorities. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give. Wallahu yahkumu la mu'aqqiba li hukmih. Allah will give a judgment. Allah will give a ruling. And no one will be able to counter or to object to Allah ta'ala's judgment. Not me, not you, not the most pious of the most pious, not even the malaika. Instead, the malaika, they will remain silent. يَوْمَ يَقُومُ الرُّوحُ وَالْمَلَائِكَةُ صَفًّا لَا يَتَكَلَّمُونَ. They will not even dare to speak in the company of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. إِلَّا مَنْ أَذِنَ لَهُ الرَّحْمَنُ وَقَالَ صَوَابًا. Unless they receive permission from Allah to do so. Jama'atul Muslimin, that day is not going to be an easy day, but it is these days, it is days like these in which we can pave, a rosy, easy, comfortable day for us on the day of Qiyamah. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَذَلِكَ يَوْمَئِذِ يَوْمٌ عَسِيرٌ, a day that will be extremely difficult. That day becomes easy, and it's made easy for us, depending on how we engage in our ibadah and how we conduct ourselves in this life. إِنَّ لِلَّهِ فِي أَيَّامِ دَهْرِكُمْ لَنَفَحَاتٍ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has within His days of this dunya, within the life, Allah ta'ala has breezes. Allah has breezes that He sends. And it is not a southeastern breeze. It is not a breeze that comes, the wind that blows across the ocean and brings the coolness of the ocean onto the land. No. It is a divine breeze from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is directly connected, or it is directed towards the hearts of those who open up their souls to receive those breezes. And when your heart and your soul is open to receive it, and it hits you, من مسته نفحة من نفحات الله لا يشقى بعدها أبدا. A person who is knocked by a spiritual divine breeze from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if it hits him, he never ever becomes wretched. He never ever becomes a loser after that ever again. هل من متعرض? Is there anyone that is willing to expose themselves to these divine breezes that Allah is sending? One of those breezes that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends time and again is the beautiful interaction that we have in this month with the Holy Quran. The beautiful interaction we have with the Holy Quran. Your recitation is increased. Your method of recitation is enhanced. Your level of interaction is maximized. Your pondering about words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is increased. And therefore Imam al-Ghazali, he says, no, that reading the Quran is not only reading the words, but there is adab, there is etiquette of the Quran that a reciter has to adhere to. And there are of 10 levels. If he adheres to these meanings, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will unveil for him such meaning within the Quran that he would have never ever expected to understand from it. He would never ever be able to receive sufficient from the Quran. The dosage will be too little for him every time he reads the Quran, and he will continue reading and reading and reading, and then you will be a manifestation of what Sayyidina Uthman ibn Affan radiallahu ta'ala anhu said, لو طهرت قلوبنا ما شبعت من كلام ربنا. If our hearts was only to be was purified, if we had pure hearts, then we would have never ever become bored by reading the words of Allah. We would not be able to read the kalam of Allah enough. Because the more he reads, the more Allah Ta'ala gives. And the more he reads with pondering, with reflection, with the presence of the heart, the more Allah bestows. And the more he reflects, the more Allah bestows. The more sincere he becomes, the more Allah Ta'ala gives. And Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala says, إِنَّ هَذَا لَرِزْقُنَا مَا لَهُ مِن نَفَاتٍ. Our sustenance never ever depletes. So as much as you are willing to give up for Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, Allah Ta'ala will give you multiple folds, 100 folds of what you are giving in return. Whatever you are sacrificing for Allah, Allah will replenish it for you 700 folds and even more. And then he says the first one is when reading the Quran, فَهْمُ عَظَمَةِ الْكَلَامِ, to understand the greatness of the words that you are reading. So he says you need to ponder, how did Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, how kind is Allah to me and you, that Allah allowed his words. You know what is Allah's words? كلام الله صفة قديمة قائمة بذاته تعالى. It is an ancient eternal speech that is attached to the essence of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. It had no beginning and it has no end. It was not created. ليست بحادث. It was not new. It was not created. Imagine how Allah Ta'ala favors me and you, my dear brother and sister in Islam, that we are able to open the words of Allah, the kalam of Allah, and we are able to read it, to utter it, to understand eternal, pre-eternal words that has no beginning and that has no end. And we are humans that are contingent. We have beginnings and we have ends. How did Allah allow words that are not created, his kalam, to be understood by creation like us? How did Allah allow his words that are so pure in its nature and it's perfect in all respects to be read and understood by creation are so sinful and have so many shortfalls and so many defects? That in itself, فَهْمُ عَظَمَةِ الْكَلَامِ, understand the greatness of the words that you are reading. تستحضره في قلبك, you present it to your heart. This is the words of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. And he says, had it not been that Allah Ta'ala had veiled his actual kalam by sounds and by huruf, the letters that we see in the Mus'haf, he says, not the arsh, not the kursi, not the malaika, no one would have ever been able to read the words of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, for it is too great. No one would have understood it, it is just too great. But Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala veiled it and covered and shrouded it and made it palatable for us. So we are able to understand and we are able to absorb it and we are able to interact with it and through it excel to a level of closeness to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Jama'atul Muslimin. The second one, he says, التعظيم للمتكلم, that you should venerate and hold in great esteem the speaker, who is Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. So in your heart, first know what words you are reading, and secondly know whose words it is. This is the words of Allah. Jama'atul Muslimin, this is the words of my Rabb and your Rabb. He's my creator and your creator, and he's speaking to me and you. And therefore he says, there is Ikrimah ibn Abi Jahl, when he used to open the Quran, when he used to open the book of Allah, he used to look at it and he used to cry. And he used to say, Kalamu Rabbi, these are the words of my Allah, this is the words of my Allah, the words. And he wouldn't even be able to start reading the Quran. That's how he would go in a state of interacting with the words of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. The third one, he says, حضور القلب وترك حديث النفس. Make sure that your heart is present and don't be distracted by the whispers. When you open up the Quran, you're all ready and you're excited to read it. Once you open up the Quran, 100 ideas come to your mind. You are reminded that you nog jy painful barang. And you are reminded that you want to tell your wife, my lovey, my bokkie cousin, miskien vanaand maak, kusisters. and so many other things. So many things come to your mind. He says, don't be distracted. Throw it, cast it away. And remember, you are standing in the divine presence and Allah is speaking to you directly. How rude is it? How ill-mannered is it if I'm standing and someone is speaking to me, and while he's speaking to me, I'm looking around and I'm looking at everyone else, but I'm not speaking to the person I'm not focusing on the person who is speaking to me. This is in creation forms. What about Allah manifesting Himself to you through His kalam, allowing you? He still allows me and you to speak to Him, allowing me to speak to Him, yet we are not present with Allah when we're reading His kalam. Imagine if one of the VIPs, the very important people in this world, according to them, and no one is important in our eyes except who is important with Allah and His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Our criteria and our yardstick for who's important in this world is in relation to how close you are to Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If you are not close to Allah and His Rasul, you are not important in our eyes. There is no superpower in this world, and this is our belief. This is our manhaj, and this is the manhaj of our teachers, and this is the manhaj of the Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. There is no superpower in this world except the superpower of Sayyidina Muhammad. And anyone who follows his lifestyle, the state of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the country of Rasulullah, the religion of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and his followers, they are the superpowers. Everyone else, they are superpowers. They claim to be superpowers. إن العزة لله جميعا ولله العزة ولرسوله وللمؤمنين. If you want true honor and true glory, if you want true power, Allah says power belongs to me and to my Rasul and whoever follows him. And that is it. ولا شيء غير هذا. Nothing other than that. Third thing is حضور النفس حضور القلب وترك حديث النفس. To be present with your heart. And therefore قيل لبعضهم أو تحدثك نفسك بشيء حينما تقرأ القرآن. Are you ever distracted when you read the Quran and you open the words of, when you open the Quran, say, open the Mus'haf and we're going to read now. Right? Are you distracted? Do you think of other things, or are you focused on the meanings of what you're reading? Or are you reading and you're thinking, okay, waar is die einde van die joos nou? Hoe weet ek nou? Wanneer gaan ek klaar maak? As ek nou klaar maak, moet ek nou doen, moet ek daai doen? Are you distracted, or what's your level of interaction with the kalam of Allah? So he says, he responds and he says, أَوَ شَيْءٌ أَحَبَّ إِلَيَّ مِنَ الْقُرْآنِ حَتَّى تُحَدِّثُنِي نَفْسِي بِهِ. Is there anything more beloved to me than the Quran that can distract me from the Quran? If there's something important that is worthwhile just being distracted for, then no, la bas. But this is the words of Allah. This is the kalam of Allah. How can I be distracted by Allah Ta'ala's words for creation? How can I be distracted by Allah Ta'ala's words for dunya? How can I be distracted by Allah's words for material things that are going to disappear and vanish, that's of no value? Kalamullah is more beloved to me, so why would I be distracted? The fourth one, he says, At-tadabbur, to ponder. And ponder about the Quran. He says it's not only about hearing the Quran, the words itself, but he says ponder about the meanings contained within the Quran. And ponder to such an extent that even if you have to repeat the same verse 10, 20, 30, 100 times, do so. It is narrated the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he recited Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim alone, فَرَدَّدْهَا 20 مرة. 20 times he said it. In another narration it comes, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam read the end of Surah Al-Ma'idah, إِن عَذِّبْهُمْ فَإِنَّهُمْ عِبَادُكَ وَإِن تَغْفِرْ لَهُمْ فَإِنَّكَ أَنْتَ الْعَزِيزُ الْحَكِيمُ. Oh Allah, if you were to punish them, they are your slaves. But if you were to forgive them, you are the mighty, you are the all-wise. Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam read that ayah and read it again, and he read it again, and he read it again until the adhan of Fajr was called. The entire night only at one ayah. وَأَخَذَ يُرَدِّدُهَا وَهُوَ يَبْكِي. And he continued repeating it while crying, إِن تُعَذِّبْهُمْ فَإِنَّهُمْ عِبَادُكَ وَإِن تَغْفِرْ لَهُمْ فَإِنَّكَ أَنْتَ الْعَزِيزُ الْحَكِيمُ. Oh Allah, if you were to punish them, they are your slaves. But oh Allah, if you were to forgive them, you are the Almighty, you are the most wise. Oh Allah, if you were to punish them, they are your slaves. I can't do anything, Ya Allah. But if you were to forgive them, Ya Allah, you are the all-wise, the almighty. If you were to punish them, they are your slave. Imagine a whole night. The Prophet ﷺ repeated this while crying. For who? For him? Or for me and you? For me and you. He cried and he repeated that verse, hoping that Allah will forgive us and punish us on the day of Qiyamah, my dear brothers and sisters in Islam. Sulaiman al-Darani, he says, إِنِّي لَأَتْلُوَ الْآيَةِ, I will recite the ayah. أُقِيمُ فِيهَا أَرْبَعَ لَيَالٍ أَوْ خَمْسَ لَيَالٍ لَا أَتَعَدَّاهَا. He says, sometimes I would read one ayah, and then I would spend 4 nights, full nights, or 5 nights, full nights, only reading the one ayah, and I can't go past it. And the only thing that allows me to go past it is the fact that I must tell myself, stop now, stop pondering about this, you need to read further so you can ponder about other ayat as well. Allahu Akbar. 5 nights continuously, whole nights reading one ayah, pondering about it, and every time Allah reveals to him new meanings that he never understood from the kalam of Allah. Jama'atul Muslimin. One of the Salihin used to say, he says, every Jumu'ah I have a khatmah, meaning he completes a one khatam every week. He says, لي في كل جمعة ختمة, every Jumu'ah I have a khatam. وفي كل شهر ختمة, and every month I have a khatam. وفي كل سنة ختمة, and every year I have a khatam. ولي ختمة منذ 30 سنة ما فرغت منها. And I have a khatam I'm still busy with for the past 30 years, I haven't completed it yet. 30 years reading at one khatam. What is the state of that reading? What is the condition of that thing? Pondering, tadabbur, ta'ammul. And then the 5th one, he says, at-tafahum. Understand each and every ayah and interact with the meanings of the ayah. If it is verses of punishment, ask Allah to protect you. If these verses of mercy, ask Allah to grant to you. If it is Jahannam, ask Allah to save you from it. If it is Jannah, ask Allah to grant it to you. If Allah speaks about destroying the previous nations, ask Allah that might be your state. If Allah speaks about the great rewards of the muttaqeen, ask Allah to make you from amongst the muttaqeen. The 6th one, he says, التخلي عن موانع الفهم. Get rid of the obstacles that prevents you from understanding the Quran. He says, sometimes one of them, the obstacles of understanding the Quran is, you will Quran so lekka lagu bacha. You will bacha the Quran with makharij, and then he focuses on the makharij and the lagu and he forgets the meaning. Allahu Akbar. It's good to read the Quran with lagu, and it is a must to read the Quran with proper tajweed. But if that becomes a means and a veil for you from understanding the Quran, then you have not reality understood the kalam of Allah. You've not understood the message of the Quran. He says, وَمِنَ الْقُرَّى, and from amongst the Qurra, you see they would focus. Oh, you must press here, you must pull, you must do this, you must emphasize. And he says, وَلَا مَرَّ, not once have pondered about the meanings. وَلَا يَتَعَدَّى قِرَاءَتُهُمُ الْحُرُوفُ وَالْمَخَارِجِ. The recitation has not gone beyond the makharij and recitation. And they have never ever pondered about the Quran and its meaning. It has not entered their hearts. The Prophet said, يَقْرَؤُونَ الْقُرْآنِ, there will be a time upon which my people will recite the Quran. لَا يُجَاوِزُ تَرَاقِيهِمْ. The Quran won't go past their chests. It won't go past their throats. Meaning it won't cause them to reflect and to ponder. Jama'atul Muslimin, rid yourself from the obstacles of preventing you and the deterrence that is causing you not to ponder about the kalam of Allah, and cast it out of the window. The objective is Quran, kitabun anzalnahu ilayka liyadabbaru ayatih. This is words that we've revealed to you so you may ponder and reflect upon it. Jama'atul Muslimin, our time is up, but just to complete it, he says, التخصيص وهو أن يقدر أنه المقصود. The 7th one is that he must understand when you read the Quran, I am intended by the speech. Nie my kind nie. No, not my wife, not my neighbor, not the person standing next to me in salah, not that person that did something wrong to me. I read the Quran and I meet him and say, ja, hy moet les leer van die ayah. Hy moet 'n les leer. Hy bly, hy baca die Quran, ja en ja, maar hy leer nie 'n lesie. No, the one who needs to learn the lesson is you, my dear brother. You are the one that need to learn the lesson. So when you read the Quran, it says, specify the meaning to yourself and forget about everyone else. They are not important to you in your reading of the Quran. You are the one that need to take lessons from this. When Allah Ta'ala speaks about the previous nations and how Allah destroys them, He says, oh Allah, please don't destroy me like this. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about things, this is for me. This is revealed for me. Allah, what if this is my state? Ya Allah, what if I'm not from amongst the Salihin? وَتُنزِلُ الْقُرْآنُ عَلَى نَفْسِكَ, and make sure that the meaning of the Quran relates to you and speaks to you. And he says the eighth one is at-ta'athur, that you must be affected by the Quran. Your heart must be affected by the Quran. Your state now needs to impact the Quran. You're excelling now. You're excelling. The eighth level is, as you read now, you can't contain yourself. You start crying. You display emotions, and that is how you get affected with the kalam of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He says, at-taraqqi. The ninth one is at-taraqqi, that you read a state, a high station, وَأَن تَسْمَعَ الْكَلَامَ مِنَ اللَّهِ عَزَّ وَجَلَّ لَا نَفْسِكَ. That you start hearing the words as if it is coming from Allah and not from you any longer. Imagine. It's as if you are hearing Allah reading the kalam, the words. It is no longer Muhammad reading the words now. It is no longer Qari, the Qari that reading. The words of the Quran is being read as if Allah is reading, speaking to me directly, as I'm hearing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaking the kalam. And therefore, Al-Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq, he says, Wallahi, he takes an oath. Al-Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq was the son of Muhammad al-Baqir, was the son of Imam Ali Zayn al-Abidin, the son of Sayyidina al-Hussein, the son of Sayyidina Ali and Sayyidatina Fatima. Al-Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq, he says, Wallahi, he takes an oath, لَقَدْ تَجَلَّ اللَّهُ عَلَى خَلْقِهِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is manifesting himself to his creation through the Quran. وَلَكِنَّهُمْ لَا يُبْصِرُونَ. But they can't even see this. Allah is manifesting himself. Allah is telling you, this is me. Read my book and know who I am. Allah manifests himself through his Quran to his creation. وَلَكِنَّهُمْ لَا يُبْصِرُونَ. Oh Allah, grant us a relationship with your Quran. Oh Allah, grant us to present to our hearts the importance of your kalam, and to ponder about it, and to read it in the manner that you desire from us to read it, and to ponder about it in the manner that you desire us to ponder about it, and open up for us meanings within the Quran, Allah, that will allow us to enter into a garden of bliss and to understand that which is not normally understood from apparent meanings. And may the batin of the Quran, the inner meanings of the Quran, change our life internally, as how the internal meanings of the Quran is internal meanings. Oh Allah, let it affect our internal, and let it reform our internal, and may we be purified, Ya Arhamar Rahimin, through your words, Ya Rabb Alameen. Wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. To the Qari Qa'id David, who recited the Qira'ah. Jazakumullah khair.
Alhamdulillah, the voice of Imam, one of the Imams here at Shukrul Mubeen Masjied, Sheikh Muhammad Philander. Going to hand over to the chairman for some.
Might have been requested to, on behalf of the committee and everybody,
From
first of all, say shukran to you.
Khali as well as Hajj Ahmed Khalant.
Over the years, alhamdulillah. And today we want to speak about, going to take up a few minutes of your time today. Please bear with us. We're going to speak about the special projects that we have here at Shukrul Mubeen, especially the month of Ramadan. Last week and today and in the week, when you entered the mosque, the committee was in the foyer there, and they handed you an envelope like this here. It's a Ramadan appeal. We've been having this for quite a few years. And again, shukran for your support over the years. This Ramadan appeal is a special appeal that we do only in the month of Ramadan every year. First of all, to assist us with the extra expenses that we have in Ramadan. We have here, alhamdulillah, excellent Hufaz reading for us even in the night. And we want to inspire them and motivate them. And at the end of the month, we give them something. And that comes from the Jama'ah. Remember that all these special projects that you have does not come from the normal subscription or the Friday collection that we have here. Every Friday we have collection. That is for the day-to-day running of the masjid for the other 11 months of the year. And we know what things cost today, electricity and water, everything that. So it's everything that goes with it. And it costs a lot of money. And again, the success of all these depends on the Jama'ah. So we would like to remind you that those people who haven't received an envelope, all we request you to do, some people think it's a slavat for them, there's nothing inside. It is, all we request from you is to just slip something in, a donation, and hand it back to the committee or bring it back. We put a box or something there. And inshallah, we will appreciate it as very much. So that can be done as soon as possible. If you can bring it back tonight, we will appreciate it. But before the end of the month of Ramadan, we need this envelope back, inshallah, with some style Yastik donation in it, inshallah. So please support us, inshallah. Once again, shukran for everybody for supporting over the years. The other special project that we have, Jamaat, over the years, on a Saturday afternoon, we've gone out to the less fortunate communities. Over the years, alhamdulillah, I can tell you we've been very successful. And people have appreciated it. For those people, we've gone out to many areas. And inshallah, tomorrow, we will be going to the people of Beacon Valley, Masjidul Da'wah. Inshallah. We believe that there are quite a few and a lot of less fortunate people there, and they will appreciate us coming there. And what we request from the Jama'ah, again, is a Jama'ah project, and the success of it depends on the Jama'ah. We needed to bring non-perishable items, tons of water, groceries, and so on, so that we can drop it off at these places. And we also need you to bring clothes that can be worn again. Maybe you outgrown, children have outgrown certain things. There are people waiting to use that. And of course, if you can donate a pot of food or anything of people can even break their fast with tomorrow evening, please bring it along. We'll be leaving from my home in Boundary Road at 2:30, inshallah. So please see that it's there before 2:30. So inshallah, that is our outreach program every Saturday. As I said, tomorrow will be the first time that we're going out this year, inshallah, in the month of Ramadan. Then Jamaat, we are, over the years, we've been collecting fitra and fidya. By the 15th of the month, we will be having our fitra and fidya box at the back. Please support us. Again, we are first looking at the less fortunate in the area and then the surrounding areas. So please support us by throwing in your fitra at the box at the back, inshallah. It will be here from the 15th of Ramadan. Then Jamaat, at the end of Ramadan, we know that people are looking forward to, there are people who are already now worried because we know the economic climate that we live in these days, how expensive things are, and people are now worried about what they're going to have for Eid. There's already people who are even worried about what they're going to eating tonight. Can we imagine? We know what we're going to eat tonight, but there are people, maybe a stone's throw away from us, worried about that. So at the end of the month of Ramadan, we have our food parcel drive. Ridwan Kenny is in charge of that. So if you have anything to contribute towards that, we'll appreciate the cash because we've acquired or we ordered the parcels already. And inshallah, if you can support us, please speak to Ridwan Kenny or any one of the committee members, inshallah. We do appreciate that. And coming to the end of it, Jamaat, we just want to announce that inshallah we're once again going to have itikaf facilities here for the last 10 days. People are encouraged to come along, inshallah, and support. There are going to be rules and regulations attached to it, which I don't want to go into now. But if you want further information, please speak to Haji Kifal Khali, our Muadhin. He's in charge of that. And please register. And I said there are certain rules and regulations that need to be adhered to. So inshallah, please assist us to make even that a success, inshallah. And then finally, Haji Yusuf Fisher asked to make dua for his wife, Haji Sharifa. She passed on 7 years yesterday. Allah Ta'ala must grant her and all those people who have passed on, Nur in their qubur, and Allah Ta'ala must grant a high place in Jannah, them highest place in Jannah, inshallah. Wa akhiru da'wam last announcement, Sheikh say that Imran Karim from York Road is asked to greet, inshallah, is leaving for Umrah coming Wednesday. He requested to make dua, Allah Ta'ala grant him a safe journey. Allah Ta'ala, inshallah, grant him Umrah maqbula and bring him safely back to the family, inshallah. Wa akhiru da'wam. Shukran.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آت سيدنا محمدا الوسيلة والفضيلة والشرف والدرجة العالية الرفيعة وبعث مقاما محمودا الذي وعدته وارزقنا شفاعته يوم القيامة إنك لا تخلف الميعاد.
Live on 1.3 from Shukrul Mubeen Masjied, also known as Yokra Masjid. Imamate structures consisting of Imam Hassan Moas as well as Sheikh Muhammad Falanda, and Sheikh also gave us the English khutbah. Our muadhins for today is Brother Yaqub Khali as well as Hajj Ahmed Khalant, and we will continue with this program shortly. We also had Hafiz Qaid Davis rendering some recitation of the Holy Quran, subhanAllah. Then a few additional sponsors and messages that have come in. Firstly, we are asked to make dua for our grandson Muhammad Asad for full recovery in hospital. Amin ya Rabbal Alameen. This message comes from his grandparents, Opa Shaheen and Oma Washila Samuels. For one additional sponsor for this live Jumu'ah broadcast, the Tali Thawab of Memuna Hercules, who passed away on the 12th of July 2022, and Granny Aya Abrams on the 17th of June 2015. Always our hearts dearly missed and fondly remembered by the Hercules, Ahadin, Hanif, Lewis, and Lehman families and all grandchildren. Lastly, keeping your du'as, 16-year-old daughter Najmunisa Kabli, who is celebrating her birthday today. May Allah grant her all goodness, her heart's desires. May she stay the coolness of her parents' eyes. Amin Ya Rabbal Alameen.
يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
الحمد لله ذي الطول والعفو والإحسان عظيم السماحة والصفح والغفران، ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له الكريم المنان، ونشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا وقرة أعيننا ونور قلوبنا ومحمدا عبده ورسوله المصطفى من عدنان. اللهم أدم صلواتك وتسليماتك على عبدك المصطفى سيدنا محمد وعلى من تحلى بالفضائل وتخلق بالشيم الكريمة في شهر رمضان، واجعلنا فيها يا إلهنا من أهل القرآن. أما بعد، فيا عباد الله، أوصيكم وإياي بتقوى الله، تقوى الله التي لا يقبل غيرها ولا يرحم إلا أهلها ولا يثيب إلا عليها. واعلموا أن الله سبحانه وتعالى قد تجلى خلقه بكلامه، فأنزل الله سبحانه وتعالى على قلب حبيبه محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم قرآنا يتلى إلى يوم القيامة. قرآن كتاب أنزلناه مبارك ليتدبروا آياته وليتذكر أولو الألباب. ويقول النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم: القرآن والصيام يشفعان للعبد يوم القيامة. يقول الصيام: أي ربي منعته الطعام والشراب والشهوة فشفعني فيه. ويقول القرآن: أي ربي منعته النوم فشفعني فيه. فيشفعان للعبد يوم القيامة، أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. إن في ذلك لذكرى لمن كان له قلب أو ألقى السمع وهو شهيد. توبوا إلى الله جميعا أيها المؤمنون لعلكم تفلحون.
اللهم صل وسلم زد وعنهم وتفضل وبارك بجلالك وكمالك على زين عبادك وعلى أشرف عبادك سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وصحبه وسلم ورضي الله تبارك وتعالى عن كل صحابة أجمعين.
الحمد لله ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله ونشهد أن سيدنا محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل وسلم على عبدك المصطفى سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أيها المؤمنون بالله، اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. وصلوا عباد الله على نبي الهدى والرحمة، فقد أمرهم الله بالصلاة عليه فقال: إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. عليها. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد، وارض اللهم تعالى عن الخلفاء الأربعة أبي بكر وعمر وعثمان وعلي، وعن بقية العشرة أهل بدر وأحد وبيعة الرضوان، وعن جميع آله وأصحابه وعنا معهم يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين وأذل الشرك والمشركين، وانصر عبادك الموحدين، واجعل البلد آمنا مطمئنا سخاء رخاء وسائر بلاد المسلمين. اللهم يا حنان يا منان يا ذا الجود والإحسان، اغفر ذنوبنا وثبت قلوبنا على الإيمان، نرجو رحمتك والغفران، واجعلنا يا إلهنا من عتقاء شهر رمضان. اللهم اعتق رقابنا ورقاب آبائنا وأمهاتنا من النار أجمعين. اللهم تقبل منا الصيام والقيام، وجنبنا فيه من الزيغ والآثام، وتقبله منا يا ذا الجلال والإكرام. عباد الله، إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. اذكروا الله يذكركم واشكروه على نعمه يزدكم، ولذكر الله أكبر. الله يعلم ما تصنعون.
Alhamdulillah. To continue with the spiritual uplifting programs for the month of Ramadan, I'm going to share with you a Kalamul program happening tonight at Masjid al-Arab, inshallah.
الصلاح على الفلاح، قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر، لا إله إلا الله.
سيدنا محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. استووا للصلاة، تراصوا اعتدلوا، يرحمني ويرحمكم الله. الله أكبر. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، الرحمن الرحيم، مالك يوم الدين، إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين، اهدنا الصراط المستقيم، صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم، صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. آمين. قد أفلح من تزكى وذكر اسم ربه فصلى، بل تؤثرون الحياة الدنيا والآخرة خير وأبقى، إن هذا لفي الصحف الأولى، صحف إبراهيم وموسى. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، الرحمن الرحيم، مالك يوم الدين، إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين، اهدنا الصراط المستقيم، صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. آمين. فذكر إنما أنت مذكر، لست عليهم بمسيطر، إلا من تولى وكفر فيعذبه الله العذاب الأكبر، إن إلينا إيابهم ثم إن علينا حسابهم. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. إلا الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. استغفر الله استغفر الله استغفر الله. اللهم أنت السلام ومنك السلام وإليك يعود السلام. حينا ربنا بالسلام ادخلنا الجنة دار السلام. تباركت ربنا وتعاليت يا ذا الجلال والإكرام.
Jamaat, next voice dua mak. I just want to, on behalf of the committee and trustees, Imamat, and the Jamaat, of course, say shukran to Voice of the Cape for broadcasting our Jumu'ah today, inshallah. May Allah Ta'ala, inshallah, grant you many, many more years of success, inshallah. They will be a benefit to the communities for many years to come, inshallah. Shukran very much.